Hey guys, welcome back to NY Sports MC. Hope you guys are all doing well this Sunday evening. I see we got Steve here. Shows that we got three other people, Steve. So hopefully some more continue to come as we get going here. But want to start this out like we always do. Kind of recap the videos that came out this week, and then as some more people jump in, we'll definitely get into some other topics here. But I did come out with Jets mess. Hey, how's it going? So I did come out with two videos this past week. One was kind of just an update, and then the other one was our wide receiver rankings. Hey, John, how's it going? So wide receiver, I did bring on Sunshine Sports Network again to kind of battle it out between the wide receivers. Just to recap, we both had the Bills at number 1. We both had the Pats at number 4. And then we were kind of going back and forth on who would take the number 2 and the number 3 spot. Whoa, Lights makes his return after 2 weeks of being absent. There we go. He knows I was going to get on him again if he didn't come. Sorry I haven't been around in 2 weeks, long work days with the protest. Hey, you and Lights the same. Oh, Andrew. Okay, yeah, I was about to say I don't know who this is. I didn't remember you from before. How's it going, Andrew? Okay, so you changed your name up, so that's good. Yeah, so we did, but like I said, I think it can go either way. The Dolphins have the best receiver of the two teams, that's for sure, in Devontae Parker. But they said Preston Williams is coming off a big injury, was an undrafted free agent, so you really don't know what you're going to expect there. So him and Mims are kind of a wash. I think Jameson Crowder is way better than Albert Wilson in the slot. So that's why I was able to, I was going to argue to put us slightly ahead. But again, they're all competing for bottom spots in the league. So we really just need to improve in that position. Oh, I'm not trying to get chewed out anymore. No, you're fine, man. I understand things happen, man. You can't come every week. I understand. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. And then earlier this week, too, like I said, it came out with the other video. We spoke about the potential for the preseason being shortened to only 2 games. I think that would be a very good thing to do. It's a double-edged sword, though, right? Because you're giving these teams more time to practice and work together and not have to try to game plan or just throw something together and play a game. But you're also not getting as much game film on some of these younger guys that are really battling to make the roster. So it's going to be tough, and you're also not getting a feel of your team against other teams as much. So for us, I don't think the game reps will matter. I think the extra practice will actually help a team like the Jets as opposed to a team like the Giants, right? So I think that those are two pretty good teams to look at and see how this preseason game can affect, right? Because the Jets, we have all the same coaching staff, but we revamped the whole offensive line. Not a single person has ever played next to the other one before. Whereas the Giants have a lot of returning pieces, but they have a brand new coaching staff. So they're implementing new playbooks. They're getting a feel for each other. So I think that instance with the Giants, it would be better to play some more games to see how you're going to play call, how you guys are going to feel in the game action. With us already knowing our coaches, that's okay. For the continuity of the offensive line, they just need reps. Whether it's practice or game, not a big deal. So I think for us, it wouldn't affect us as much as a team like the Giants or any other team that has a new head coach this year. But it is going to mess up a little bit. Wish they could have had some kind of mini camps, but obviously they didn't. Great to see Sam Darnold and all the people that were out there with him in Florida this weekend. You had Mims, you had everybody. Crowder was there. Perryman was there. The tight ends were there. The undrafted rookie wide receivers were there. So, a lot of people there. It was really, really exciting to see that. Hopefully they continue to work and it's not just a one weekend thing. I think that would really be really good for building their chemistry. Mr. Chats. Yeah, no, we're glad to have you back. Funny how they all show up on Monday night for Ryan. Yeah, right? You guys need to all show up on Monday night and tell Ryan how he needs to bring me on the show. But we talked before. Former New Yorkers living outside Ocala, Florida now. Love Mims. I put him 850 yards plus 8 touchdowns. That would be a very, very good year, John. I would take that any day of the week if that's what he can put up this year. I am a big fan of Mims. Just the transition for wide receivers usually is not the easiest one to make, especially one who is not known as a technician when it comes to running routes. The wide receivers that make the biggest impact year one are the precision route runners. And Mims is not quite there yet. But I do believe heavily in our coaching staffs when it comes to the wide receiver position. I think that between Sean Jefferson and Hines Ward, I always forget his name, and Hines Ward, that's a very good combination right there. And they're going to get him coached up. I just don't know how quickly we're gonna get into seeing the effects of that. We need a new offense. Here we go. See Gase bashing again. I'll get into that a little bit, but let me catch up on some of these comments. Yeah, on the OC. The OC is Gase, people. I hope you all know that. I think Dotson is going to be great. I think he's going to be a red zone beast. Definitely know that. Yeah, so with Gase, just let's get back into it again because it's coming up here, right? So I want to believe, and am waiting to see this year, I want to believe that Gase held back that playbook. If you watch some of the games, you know for certain when Darnold was out, that playbook was trimmed down dramatically, and the team was just really, really bad. And then in the Dallas game, Sam Darnold's first game back, there was two completely different playbooks. Anything we saw in the first, whatever it was, 4 weeks or so to that game, two completely different playbooks. But then it seemed like he dialed it back again. Like I said, I don't know if this was – I think it had to be a combination of how poor the offensive line was playing and the fact that Darnold is playing with a flat jacket and he's your franchise and you want to protect them. So my thing is, I just saw the hashtag #FireGase go off there. Give him some time. Go into this year with an open mind. Look, we're all Jet fans. We want to see them win, right? I want to see Gase be the coach for the next 10, 20 years, right? Because that means he's doing something good. We're very competitive. We're winning the division a lot. We're getting to the playoffs. We're making deep runs in the playoffs. Maybe even a Super Bowl, right? If he's here 10, 20 years. So doesn't matter who you wanted as a head coach, how much better would they have done? And this is actually going to bring me very nicely into what I wanted to talk about tonight. So I'm going to get to that in a second. I just want to read these last few comments. Forgetting about Doxson, I think he could be a decent player. Yeah, with Doxson, I'm just going to go in with no expectations. So if he does anything, it'll be a nice surprise. I don't really know what to expect from him. So we'll have to see what happens here. He's going to be here for at least 2 more years. Stop your wanting. This is a season to see what he does. Second year. Yeah. So I want to get into my expectations a little bit for the upcoming year and why I think that the Jets could be a team that surprises a lot of people this year. So with what's going on, right? If you look at last year, we were one of the most injury-riddled team in the league, right? If we beat the Bills week 1, which if Mosley stayed healthy, or even with Mosley going down, if we had a competent kicker, if we had Fick in week 1, we win. Because Ficken's not missing them. He may have missed 1, but he wasn't missing. What did he miss? 2 or 3 that game? Vedvik, that was just atrocious, right? One was an extra point. The game would have at least went to overtime. So if you win that game, right, with a competent kicker or Mosley not getting hurt, we finish the year 8-8. The Bills, who everybody's crowning right now, they're crowning them, AFC East champs, would have been 9-7. That would mean we were 1 game behind the team that everybody's crowning right now with an atrocious offensive line, a quarterback who got released as soon as Sam Darnold got healthy that played 3 games. It was the first time in NFL history that a quarterback was the starting quarterback 1 week and cut before the next week. Just let that sink in. First time ever that happened. It shows how he should not have been in there, right? So you look at that, right? You look at how bad that offensive line is. First time ever to give up 50-plus sacks and have, 3 yards rushing average or something like that? One of the most historic, not even just season-wise, one of the historically worst offensive lines in the NFL history. So we improved the offensive line. Hopefully Sam Darnold's healthy the whole year. If we're not the thought process is there's no way we can be as injured as we were last year, as banged up as we were last year. So we were one of the most banged up teams in the league with one of the worst offensive lines in league history. And we were potentially one game behind the Bills if we had a kicker that can make a kick week 1. So how are we so far behind them? Even without that game, we were only it's 2 games back, right? If we beat them and one of them. So I don't want to hear it, right? And then the big thing too is, we only beat the Bills in week 17 because they were playing their backups. Yeah, we were playing 3rd and 4th stringers. We're playing practice squad guys, right? So it's like I don't want to hear that because you were benching them because you had a choice to. Great, we had no choice but to play these guys. So I think we're going to surprise a lot of people, man. I think that we're going to be competing for this division, and I would not in the slightest bit surprised if we won the division. I think you look at it, there's 3 really, really good defenses in this division. I think the Dolphins are a step behind. The Dolphins do have very good corners, but we're going to have one of the top defenses in the league. And we have the best quarterback in the division. As long as our offensive line can be average, I believe we can win this division. So I just wanted to get into that because I'm just so sick and tired of that. Everywhere I see the Bills, the Bills, the Bills. People even saying the Patriots still. I think that's very disrespectful because, like I said, without Brady there with this, I saw an article that said that Stidham was a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. That Stidham's going to be the best quarterback. How could you say that? How could anyone say that? Darnold was the better prospect coming out. Darnold has put up pretty good numbers in the league, and Stidham hasn't even played yet. I mean, unbelievable. Thank you. I've been talking about the kickers for months. They are who we thought they were. You want to crown? Yeah, I was thinking about that as soon as I said it too. I was thinking exactly that speech as I said it. I wasn't trying to quote that, but as I said it, I was like, oh man, I saw him slapping the podium and everything. That was one of the greatest ones. Yeah, bro, I kid you guys not. I saw an article that said Stidham was better than Darnold, and I just laughed and closed out the article. But so what was it on? Oh, so I had must have been a Bills fan, came into my quarterback ranking, right? AFC East quarterback ranking, and put the stats, Allen versus Darnold, in the comments and said let me pull it up. I'll read it to you guys here. Let me pull it up on my phone. Let me go back here. Quarterback. Here we go. It was Jerome Jasper. Sam Darnold's numbers 2019. 3,020. No, he just posted this 2 days ago. So I just remember it. Sam Darnold's number 2019, 3,024 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 2019 QBR 84.3. Josh Allen, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, QBR 85.3. I don't know why he didn't put Josh Allen's yards on here. But, all right, so his QBR was 0.9 higher. Now, can someone please explain to me how is Sam Darnold so much better than Josh Allen? Darnold hasn't done anything in the NFL. Josh has done a lot either, but he's done more than Sam Darnold so far in their careers. So I nicely rebutted with just saying some of the stats that were in a nice tweet I saw about how Sam Darnold was top 12 in yards per attempt, touchdowns, touchdown per interception, PFF quarterback ranking. He was PFF's 8th graded passer, and this is over the last 8 games of the season, despite being pressured the highest rate of 41.9%. When kept clean, he ranked 1st in accuracy and 4th in passer rating. So Darnold has finished both years as one of the hotter quarterbacks in the league. His rookie year, the last 4 games, he was the hottest quarterback in the league. And the stats prove that. So you see that what really amazes me about Darnold, 2 things. One is that he bounces back. He does not let anything bother him, right? He doesn't get rattled. I mean, think about how his career started out. pick six on the first play. And then he trashes an NFL team. Absolutely destroys them. So that ability and that mentality to be able to forget that is unbelievable. Then you look at how well he's finished out some of these years with subpar talent around him. So if we can get decent talent around him and keep improving the talent around him, he's going to be extremely special. I'm very, very excited about it. Like I said, I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. I think he's going to put himself on the map this year. So long as that offensive line can keep him relatively clean and just give him enough time, he's going to have a big year. Guess we're going to find out who's better in the – yeah. And I said I was rooting for Allen, obviously not to the highest extent because he ended up getting drafted in division. But I like the underdog story, and I like how he comes from a smaller school. I kind of like to see those things pan out where everybody's like, no, should this guy go that high because he didn't play great competition? So I like to see when they kind of prove people wrong. Like I said, I don't want him to be one of the greatest because obviously he's in our division. But if he doesn't improve his accuracy, they're going to have some issues there, right? You cannot continuously win in this league by running, and you have to be able to win from the pocket. It works more in the regular season, but once you start to get to the end of the season and into the playoffs, you got to be able to win from the pocket. You got to be able to make smart decisions, and we got to see if he can do that, right? So he has a lot of improvements to make too. Not saying that he's going to be horrible, but I think that if you're looking at it from a pure passer, pure quarterback position, Darnold is by far the better passer. Here comes the ultimate jinx besides name is Sam doesn't lose in Buffalo. So, and I think the talent around him from the skilled position is better than we think. It's all going to be about this offensive line. How quickly can this offensive line gel, and how well can they play in pass protection to help protect Sam to give him time? So if you look at our wide receivers, obviously there's a lot of question marks. You have Mims, who's a second-round rookie wide receiver. It's going to take a little time to adjust to the league, develop his route tree. You got Perryman, who, by all accounts, at the end of last year looked like an absolute stud, but he's only got a very small sample size of about 6 games, right? Before that, he was considered a first-round bust, right? Injuries, drops, things like that really derailed the beginning of his career, but came on strong last year when he got the opportunity after some injuries. And then you have Jameson Crowder, who's one of the best slot corners in the league. And then after the top three, it's a bunch of question marks still. You have Vincent Smith, who I think can be a very good deep threat. I think he's going to be the Robbie of like 2 years ago and 3 years ago, not Robbie of last year. Robbie of last year started to really develop his route tree quite a bit and was able to – you saw him with a lot of deep drags. You saw him doing a lot of different things on the sideline. It wasn't just all go routes like in previous years. But I think Vincent Smith is going to bring that element to the team of being able to come in as that fourth wide receiver, maybe towards the latter part of the game too when the defenses are starting to tire, and really be able to blow that top off the defense. You saw the Jets. I mean, we were kind of devastated with injuries like I had mentioned before, but you saw them draw up some plays for Vincent Smith last year. They were trying to get the ball to him deep down the field. So they see the potential in there, and I can see him going. Obviously, we mentioned Josh Doctson before. I don't really know what to expect from him, but if we can get anything out of him, that'd be great. Former first-round pick as well. And then you have somebody like Cager who could potentially be a surprise if he could stay healthy. I don't know if he'd really contribute much this year. He is a big body, maybe red zone type threat. I was surprised and happy to hear that he had this long relationship with Sam Darnold, dating all the way back to high school, where they've played a lot together. They've went to a lot of camps together, never physically played on the same team in real competitions, but have a good amount of chemistry already together. So that was pretty interesting to read about. And then I don't think he's going to make the team, but I know I've heard some people saying about Braxton Berrios, how apparently he's a workout warrior and he got all shredded up this offseason. So we'll see. I think he's a candidate to be cut this year because I didn't see enough of him as a wide receiver last year. And there's a chance that he can lose his return job to somebody like Ashton Davis that we just drafted this year. Or even Pirine, right? Pirine can return kicks as well. So if they want to give the rookies the job as the returners, Berrios is really going to have to show something at the wide receiver position. But then you look at the tight ends, right? Two really good, really solid receiving tight ends in Chris Herndon and Ryan Griffin. So now you could even put them on the field. Since your wide receiver depth is not as deep, Herndon or Griffin can each split out into the slots, and they can stay in line. Well, at least Herndon's probably better in-line tight end than Griffin, because Herndon is a pretty good blocker as well. And you can kind of mix it up, right? And then you have Le'Veon Bell, who's really good at catching out of the backfield. You have Frank Gore, who's just a wily veteran who could at least help protections back there. And then you have Pirine, who kind of can do a little bit of everything too and catch out of the backfield as well. So you can mix and match these weapons and get a lot of weapons out onto the field. So I think it's going to be interesting. I want to see how Gase and company utilizes all of them. I want to see how much they expand this playbook this year. I think with Sam Darnold coming into his second year of the system, became more vocal last year with Gase about how what he liked and what different things he liked to do on the field. I think that's going to be big, right? So now him and Gase are on the same page. He as in Sam Darnold, stepped up to that leadership spot last year and said, I want input in the offense, which Gase came out and said that he was looking and waiting for that, and everybody kind of tried to rip Gase for that. But I think that was commendable, and I think that I understand where Gase was coming from, because it's that young person you want him to step up and take that ownership, right? You don't want to feel like you're forcing on him. He needs to take it. He needs to show that characteristic. So I think that was very good for him to go to Gase and say, I want to talk about this. So that was great. I think now that they're in the system, year two, they can kind of start to go a little deeper into the playbook, start to get a little more creative, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of that this year. You saw Sam Darnold kind of directing traffic this weekend. There was only a few little clips, but simulating like a defense, making some checks at the line. So he seems to have a very good grasp of what they're trying to do this year, which is great. So I'm just really excited to see what they can do. I think the Jets keep 6 receivers: Mims, Perriman, Crowder, Doxson, Smith, and Cager. Yeah, I mean, I can see that if they keep 6, that would be good. Then we actually can keep 2 extra players this year, so there's a chance that they can keep 6, because the rosters have expanded to 55 this year. So I can see that happening as well, Steven. That's a good picking at wide receiver. They'll keep 3 tight ends: Herndon, Griffin, Wesco. Yeah, and I don't know if Brown is still eligible, but if he is, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to stash him on the practice squad. I don't know how many years he's been in the league yet, so I think he should still be practice squad eligible. Sam loves throwing to tight ends. 4 running backs: Bell, Gore, Pirine, and that dude that played decent last year. Who are you talking about? The dude you talking about? What's his name? Adams, the guy from the Eagles. We also have Kenneth Dixon as well. So it'd be interesting to see that running back who kind of, if they do keep 4, who will be that 4th one, because those are 2 guys right there that have been in the league before, have played significant in the season. So see who can win that battle. There are 2 extra spots. Yeah. So Adams actually looked very good his rookie season with the Eagles, and then I don't know what happened, because I don't follow the Eagles very closely. Obviously, they're not even in the same conference as us. But I know his rookie year, he played pretty well, and it looked like he was going to take over there. And then I guess I don't know if he got hurt or if he just lacked of production after that. But he showed some spurts with us, so we'll have to see. So like I said, the biggest thing with our offense is going to be the offensive line. If the offensive line is league average, I think we are a playoff team. And it's that simple. Because we're going to have a solid defense, one of the tops in the league. And then with Sam Darnold and the talent he has around, all he needs is time to be able to get it to some of these guys. So I wouldn't be crowning the Bills yet. I wonder how long they're going to stay in Florida. I know that it was just saying that it was going to be a weekend. I don't know if they plan on potentially working out some more together, but I really hope that they do this at least, a few more times to help build up that chemistry between them all. Because if you think about it, Sam's thrown to the tight ends, so the tight end's not a problem. He's thrown to Bell, so that's not a problem. But the wide receivers, besides Crowder, he hasn't thrown to any, and Vincent Smith, he hasn't thrown to any of those guys. He hasn't thrown to Mims, Perryman, Doxson, Cager. They've worked out together. So you want to see him get as many reps as he can with these guys. But Sam seems like somebody that kind of adjusts to these people pretty quickly. Especially last year, you kind of saw that there was a lot of different receivers rotating in and out. And it never really seemed like he was too much not on the same page. John, how's it going? Go Jets, baby. Jamal needs to mature, and the money will come. Yeah, I love Jamal, and I want him to stay. I think that he's an integral part to this team. I think he's the heartbeat of that defense just from a vocal energy standpoint. But he does have to mature a little bit. I mean, I hate when they run to social media to vent. It's like, what are you going to accomplish by doing that? Nothing. You just make yourself look bad, I think. And just go to them and talk to them, right? And that was one of the issues I had about the trade deadline. Oh, I haven't spoke to him yet. I'm not ready to speak to him yet. What? Come on. You guys are all adults. Go in there and have a conversation with him. Call him up and say, let's talk, right? You want to do everything through your agent or whatever. You want them to initiate it. Talk to them. And then you would find out why they're not giving you the deal right now, because it doesn't make financial sense. You want to be on a winner. This is how they got to do it. My only question, though, is, and I don't know the rules. I'm not, like I said, I'm a fan just like everybody else in here. I just like to give my opinion. I don't know how it works if they can. The one way I can see it being a win-win is if they signed him to the extension now, but it started next year. So what I mean by that is he still gets whatever amount of money that he would get this year. Just give him, give him part of the signing bonus, right? So it'll uptick a little bit, but then have all the new monies kind of start next year and the year after. So it's like, look, you don't want to wait. We don't want to pay you now. Well, let's meet in the middle. We'll give you the new deal. We'll secure you for more years, but to not impact our salary cap and to keep it the way we need it to, you got to play on this deal, because technically we have you for, a few more years here. So we're not in any position to really rush to give you a deal. And I just hate, why are you comparing yourself to other people, other positions, other things like that? It's like, just have the conversation with the GM, man. Keep it closed in. That's the one thing I hate about social media. I was never on any social media. I was on LinkedIn, and that was it. And that was just for business and for work. I just recently created a Twitter, and it's literally just for this channel. I try to help promote the channel through there. But obviously it's new, so I don't have a lot of people, so it hasn't really helped promote the channel much yet. But as I grow, hopefully it'll help to grow it a little bit. So I kind of post all my videos on there as well. I try to retweet some stuff I see about the Jets. But yeah, social media just causes so much drama. That's the biggest thing about it. It's just like the media, man. Everything just stirs. Jamal's a safety, corner, and linebacker. Yeah, he is. He does play multiple positions, but that doesn't mean that we should just go against every philosophy that we have on building teams and things like that. So I think it just is a bad precedent. And I know some people, McCaffrey got it. Apparently they're talking to Myles Garrett about getting into him early. So, I guess I understand. But it's this is the first offseason that you could actually get it. You still have 2 more years on your contract. So you can't be upset when they don't sign you. The whole purpose and the whole way you build a successful winner is by taking advantage of the contracts when you draft well, right? You taking advantage of those rookie deals. So I just wish they would have a conversation and say, hey, look, we want you here long term, but we got to do it after this year. If we want to build a successful winner, this is the way we're structuring everybody's contracts. We're not doing them after 3 years. We're doing them after 4, right? So, because then if he wants a new contract, what's to say May doesn't say, I'm going to hold out for a new contract, or Sam Darnold say that next year, right? So it can set a precedent that, well, if you just keep running your mouth in the media and saying all this type of stuff, they're going to give you what you want. So it is, it is what it is. 5 years, 80 million, 55 guaranteed, 16 million a year. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that next year, right? Like, do that next year because we have the leverage. There's no reason to really do it now. I see Jamal future to be traded. I mean, I don't want him to be, but if that's what's best for the team, I want whatever's best for the Jets. And that's what it is. As much as I like Jamal, and I tell you what, if he gets traded, I may never buy another Jets jersey again. I've had really bad luck with Jets jerseys. I haven't bought a lot, but I've always had very bad luck with them. I was a huge, like I said, I've had like 3 or 4 like my whole life, so it's not like I've had a lot. But I was a huge Santana Moss fan. I got his jersey, and they traded him like a few weeks later. I don't know why I was kind of younger then. I had a what was his name? Dwayne Robertson jersey. I don't know why I bought a defensive lineman's jersey, but he was like good his rookie year, and then was kind of horrible after that. I had a Revis jersey right before we traded him to Tampa, and then I did hold on to it. So then when he came back, I kind of got a little use out of it, but then he wasn't really playing as well. And then now I have a Jamal Adams jersey that I just bought when a new jersey is released, and he may be out the door now too. So not the best of luck when it comes to jersey sales for me. That's what's best for the team. Make most of his guaranteed money slated for next offseason will be over 100 in cap. Yeah, I mean, that's what they can do, and that's what they need to talk to him about. And that's why I just – none of us know because none of us know what kind of conversations they have or have not had. So I just hope that they've had conversations and kind of explain that to him and say, look, this is why it matters. And if they did have that conversation with him and he's still in the media saying this stuff, then it is time to go because then he's not about the team. He's about himself. And I'm not making assumptions. Like I said, I want him here. If he would ever watch this, I don't want him to think that, right? I'm just saying that if these are the assumptions, right? If they've never spoken to him about that, then it is on Joe Douglas in the front office. They need to go to him and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing and why we're trying to do that, right? So it's all about those conversations that we'll never know what really happened. So, we don't know. So to try to bash Jamal or try to bash the Jets is really, really just not wise of us because we don't know the full situation. You can't take anybody's word for that. Dude, I had a Golston jersey. Oh, man, that one was rough. Lordy, Sanchez, Tebow, Wilkerson, Revis, and Adams. Yeah, I don't know. Lordy. I don't know if that was just a typo or who's Lordy. I'm not sure. 3 years at $100 million. 3 years at $100 million. Did I miss something? Who's 3 years at $100 million? Oh, 3 years that we've had $100 million in cap space? Well, we didn't have $100 million this year. I think we had over $100 million last year. I think he meant 3 years of $100 million in the salary cap space, which we had that last year when McCagnon spent it all. This year we had like 60 or so, I think. 60. We could have gotten close if we cut some of the people that we thought were going to get cut, like Winters and Williamson. I think that would have got us to like 80 or so, though. I don't think we could have got to 100 this year, especially with Tremaine Johnson's mess of a contract. But, yeah, we should have a lot of money. It'll be interesting to see, though, like this year I think he was trying to be very systematic in the way that he was selecting people in free agency. I really would have loved to see what happened if Joe Thuney did hit the open market, if he would have tried to make a big splash signing with him. I think he would have. I think once Thuney kind of got franchise tagged, he was like, okay, we're going to go with the economical deals. We're going to go with the ones that we can get out of. And that's what he did. But it'll be interesting to see, equipped with quite a bit of funds for next year. We have to see, obviously, who even hits the market and what our needs are going to be at the end of the year. But you got to figure at some point he's going to look to make a splash signing or so. So we'll see what happens. He has like third or fifth most cap space right now since the Tremaine cut. But I don't know if he's even going to use it at all. So we'll have to see what he does there. But I can see him just rolling that money to next year. Yeah, that was when we got Mosley and Lev Bell, and we were trying to get Anthony Barr, but he reneged on the deal. That's when we had $100 million. I don't know. Who could that be? I'm trying to think of a name that's similar to that. Dark Demonic, what's going on, man? Thank you for popping in. So now that Demonic's here, he just reminded me of something. You did not get me an alert on my Discord. Yeah, I know. I usually send it to you in the Discord. But I felt like I hadn't commented in there in a while, so I didn't want to just come in and talk about my channel. You may read me out for just promoting my channel again. But no, I got on the computer real late. So I got on the computer. Yeah, I did comment on your diet, which you're doing a great job, by the way. I just got to the computer real late. Me and my wife were watching F is for Family, which is a great show on Netflix. If you guys haven't watched Bill Burr, the comedian's show, it's hilarious. So the new season just dropped. Me and my wife were watching an episode just before this, and I got on the computer with like 4 minutes to go until the stream was coming on. So I had to just hop right in here. But what do you think of Jamal Adams bashing on the Jets? So you just missed that, Demonic, about 2 minutes before you came in. I pretty much just said it's really hard to recap quickly. It's really hard to side with anybody. I wish he would not put it out in the media because I think that's something that should stay in-house, that he should call Joe Douglas and talk to him if he feels a certain type of way. So that's where I'm going to have the issue with Jamal Adams. But if what he kind of said is true, well, I don't like that he went to the media to do that. We have to put something back on the Jets and Joe Douglas, right? Because if they really haven't had a conversation with him, then that's an issue. If they had a conversation with him and said, hey, Jamal, we want you here long-term. We want you to be a career Jet, but we can't set this precedent of paying people early. We have you on the contract for 2 more years. We'll do it after this upcoming year. And then Jamal goes, and that's why they haven't contacted him or sent him a contract offer, because they told him to wait till next year. Then the issue is on Jamal, right? Because it's like, look, now you're being selfish and you're about yourself and not the team. But we're never going to know that. We're never going to know what kind of conversations they had or didn't have. So it's really hard to pick a side. The one thing that's going to make me go against Jamal is in the fashion in which he's doing it. You have an agent. You also have your own voice, right? People want to talk about having voice, having voices and doing things. Pick up the phone and call him, right? That's it. Call Joe Douglas and talk to him. Don't run out into the media and start commenting on social media, because that's not helping anybody. So I wish he would just go straight to him. I know that they can't really just walk into his office right now because they're just barely opening up these facilities, and he's not rehabbing an injury, so he's not even allowed in the building. But you can pick up the phone and call him. Say, hey, I feel, look, Miles, Christian McCaffrey just got his. Myles Garrett, apparently they're trying to get his done. Where's mine? And have that conversation. But don't put it out in the media. That's the biggest thing for me. Jamal stuck with the Jets for 4 years. They will tag him 2 years in a row. And that's the tough thing. Even if they don't tag him, Demonic, he's on the contract for 2 more years. So the thing is he going to hold out? It's okay, hold out. And then hold out again next year. And then see what you're going to get paid when you haven't played in 2 years. Right? It's like you're only going to hurt yourself. So he doesn't have a lot of leverage, and he has to realize that. He really doesn't. You're not going to play? Fine. Don't play. We just drafted a safety. He's not as good as you, but don't play. I understand partially why he feels this way, right? His dad's career was drastically cut short due to injury. He never got his big deal. So I can understand why that hits close to home, right? Like where he doesn't want to look at that. So, Demonic, one of the other things I said, I'm not a cap guru or even a contract guru. I don't know if it's something they can do. But if they could give him the deal now, but it starts after this upcoming season, so he kind of is like playing on whatever his salary is this year, and that kind of stays the same, but we guarantee him more money, we guarantee him more years, and we put it kind of on for the next year and moving forward, I'd be all for that. And I think that they should have a conversation about that. But yeah, he's got to understand that if he plays on this contract now, we either have more money to potentially bring in Logan Ryan or Golston or Curry or one of these edge guys. Or if they don't want to spend that, they can roll that money to next year, pay him next year, pay other guys next year, and really make the team better. So my thing with Jamal is like, are you really in it for the team or for the money? Because for the team, it makes the most sense for you to wait one more year. So, like I said, we just don't know those conversations that are being had. So it's really, really hard to say. What they said, who said what. Yeah, and even if you did hear from both sides, I tell people this all the time, whether it's a relationship with a family member, a friend, coworker, whenever there's an argument, a disagreement, or anything like that, there's side A's story, side B's story, and the truth is somewhere over here, right? So even if Joe Douglas came out and said something and Jamal said something, the odds are that neither one of them are being 100% honest. So we'll never know. Jamal's not getting traded. This is why he's lashing out. He wants the Jets to lash out to trade him. Jamal needs to realize himself the Jets are in a money business as well. He won't win. Drafting Davis was smart by the Jets. If he holds out, a real leader steps in and fills in. Davis is a free safety. Jamal is a strong safety, even though Jamal does more than that. Yeah, but I think, May can kind of move around quite a bit too. So I think that they'd all be pretty interchangeable. They might use him as a cornerback as well. He's not a good open field tackler. Who's not a good open field tackler? Davis? I don't know that much about Davis to know if that's who you're talking about the open field tackler. I do know that he's a pretty versatile piece. And I do know he could be an impact in the return game as well. So, like I said, and I think I think Davis' pick also opens up that spot, and I know you guys are like, you really love him, but for Lawrence Cager, right? Because like I said, I think it makes Braxton Berrios potentially expendable as well. I mean, I had high hopes for Berrios last year. He kind of disappointed a little bit, at least in my eyes, when it comes to being as a wide receiver. I thought he could be one of these shifty guys that can make some plays in space, maybe an Edelman type or something like that, but not saying he was going to be as good as Edelman, but, that type of receiver. But I really didn't see much from him as a receiver. So hope Davis stays healthy. Have you seen Davis play NFL ball yet? You don't know that yet. Davis is important. He was not used right at UCLA. He found the right fit with Greg Williams. Yeah, well, I mean, if the thing is with Greg Williams, that he's got a plan for whatever he's doing, and if he's if he wanted Davis, he's got a specific plan in mind for how he wants to utilize him. Come on, guys, let's get that thumbs up in here. I don't know. My guys who usually tell you guys to hit that thumbs up, they're not here tonight, I guess. We got 3 likes and 8 people in here. He started playing football in college. No, that's not true, Stephen. That is not true. That you probably heard from Joe Blewett of X Factor, Jets X Factor. He said that on Ryan's show, and I was in the comments telling him that was not true at all. He played in high school, and he actually said that he was a great track star too, and he was very emotional when he went to college because he thought his football career was over. And he said that he was not ready for it to be over yet, and he fought and worked his way back on and walked on. But he was absolutely a high school player. He just wasn't very highly touted out of high school, obviously, as he didn't get a scholarship to play. So he was a bigger track athlete in high school than he was a football player, but he absolutely played in high school, which I thought was very interesting because he watches a lot of film and knows a lot, that guy. And for him to completely have missed on that was interesting. Davis was the 6th riskiest player. How do you determine if a player is riskiest player in the draft? That's an interesting stat, Ed. Did you see that somewhere? Is that just your own kind of personal belief? How do you rank the riskiness of the player, and who are the top 5 then? Because a lot of people can say that Mekhi Becton is a big risky pick, right? Didn't pass protect quite a bit. Really only had one good season. His year before that was not the greatest. So you can say that, that Mekhi Becton is a very risky pick. Thank you. Now everybody's saying, hit that like, appreciate it. Yeah, we got up to 6 now. Joe Douglas drafted leaders in the locker room, which is what the Jets needed. Need guys to come in and work. If you have poor work habits, you're going – yeah. No, they definitely did draft a lot of leaders. They are trying to build that culture up in that locker room. So that's the thing too. Like some of those guys, yeah, they're like, oh, P. Ryan, is he ever going to be a starting running back? Maybe not, but he's a good, solid backup, and he's not going to be an issue, right? I know some people wanted that guy from – what was his name? From Maryland, I think McFarland. Apparently they said that guy's got the worst attitude. I've heard scouts say he's got the worst attitude they've ever seen. Like we're done with those types of players. They want to get the right people in here that are not going to cause an issue. Someone that was overdrafted from the mock drafts, I believe. MC know this jersey saying he played at Brookdale, aka UCLA University, closest to Lincroft area. Becton was not overdrafted. He was top 10 pick, but I prefer Wills. Worse. Yeah, no, what I'm saying is a lot of people said that he was a high risk, high reward type of guy. So if he's high risk, high reward, it could be Tua, Chenault, Lewis, Matos, and Queen. So I can see Tua because he has such a – and Chenault, they got very, very big injury risk. Matos, that was a guy from Penn State that they said could have been hazing people again. So that was interesting. Queen, I thought Queen – a lot of people say Queen. I think Queen landed with the Ravens, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think if that's what I'm thinking of, he could be very, very good over there, especially on the team. Yeah, I don't know which Lewis. I'm not sure. Lewis is not ringing a bell. Is the fullback spot dead in the NFL today? No, I don't. I think like in the traditional sense, yes. I think you'll still see teams use them. I think it's more going to be that hybrid role. Like for us, it's going to be Trayvon Wesco, where they line up at fullback, they motion the tight end, or they line up a tight end, motion into fullback. I think you'll see that on some plays. But to see the traditional fullback position, that's gone. But it's going to be more of that hybrid role because they just don't use it as much. I tell you what, though, is it gone forever, though? I don't know. Because I feel like this stuff is cyclical. Everybody's going to passing now. And then what's going to happen is, and you mark my words, I don't know how many years it's going to be, but what's going to happen is everybody's going to get smaller, right? Like they said these guys used to be called tweeners. Now they're getting drafted high, like Simmons, right? As everybody thought Simmons was very, very good, and he could be a very good player. But they said if you look 5-10 years ago, he would be labeled a tweener and drafted very low because he's not quite a safety, not quite a linebacker. He's kind of in the middle. And there was really no position for those types of players. But now in the modern game where they're passing quite a bit, it is. But what's going to happen is these teams are going to get smaller across the board. Somebody's going to think to themselves, let me get a bunch of big dudes with a big fullback, and they're not going to be able to stop us because they got a bunch of small guys now. So – and then everybody is a copycat, right? Copycat league. And then, so I think it'll come back quite a bit at some point. But I think for the immediate future and the near future, it's going to be more of that hybrid tight end fullback role. But can it make a revitalization? I'm sure. I think that anything can. And we've seen it in the league before. People are going to try different things, or the league's going to adapt, really, is what it is. And then somebody's going to come up with something else to adapt back as well. I love to see Quinn Williams play a little fullback. Yeah, on the goal line. You got to say Quinn would win. Quinn Williams, I think for sure. I mean, if Becton wins, that'd be amazing. But Quinn Williams is very fast and a lot smaller than Becton. Becton's just a huge man. But I would say Quinn Williams. I don't know. I think Quinn Williams is going to have a big year this year. The buffet they go to when it's over. Uh, but yeah, Becton reminds me of a body size. All right. Yeah, that's what Joe Douglas was saying. He was like a lot of these throwback tackles. Yeah, he wasn't trying to compare them to them because these were like Hall of Fame type guys, but he was saying like Ogden and some of these really, really big tackles that used to play. So it's not the first time we've seen somebody that massive. It's probably the first time we've seen somebody that massive that can move as well as he does. That's pretty impressive. But it'll be interesting. I kind of wish that the offensive line would, but then it's like almost a full practice. If you had the offensive line down there in Florida with Darnold, you kind of would have wished that like maybe McGovern was there so he can start snapping to Darnold or whatnot. But they'll get enough reps in training camp. Like I said, especially if they don't have those 2 other preseason games where they get an extra practice or 2 in and really just get the reps together. That's what they need. The offensive line just needs as many reps together as possible. And hopefully nobody gets banged up because if they get banged up and they got to miss a week or 2 and rehab and now they're missing reps together. So we need that line to gel and become a cohesive unit as quickly as possible. But it's like I said, it's going to be – I can't wait for training camp to start. I just want to hear them out there on the field. I want to see some preseason games. So hopefully everything starts on time. And now all these sports leagues are not coming back because they can't come to agreements on what they're going to do. I'm just hoping that everything is kind of settled by then. We still have a few months to go before that even starts. So hopefully it's a non-issue for the NFL. But I know baseball and basketball are now having some big issues trying to get their season – well, the basketball season resumed. The baseball season has started. So a bunch of basketball players don't even want to play now because they say it's taking away from the whole protests. But I don't believe in all that. MLB is such trash for what they're doing. Yeah, they're really nickel and diming. They wanted the first proposal. They wanted somebody that was, and obviously this is the top guys in the league, but they wanted somebody making $35 million to accept $7 million. Like, and at the end of the day, if we look at it, hey, $7 million, like, come on, like, what's the matter? Is that not enough to feed you and your family? Like, we know that that's a lot of money, but it just doesn't add up, right? Why don't you give him $17 million? He's probably going to play a half the season. It's about half his salary, and there you go, right? Just go with it. But I kind of I understand the owners a little bit, but I'm leaning more on the player side on this because the owners are trying to give them a percentage of the revenue because I guess the way the owners are feeling is that they're not going to get as much revenue because not as many people are going to be coming to their ballpark, not as many people are going to be buying concessions and all that, right? So they're going to be losing money. So like if we even pay you an even proration, we're still losing out dramatically because we're going to be losing out every single game. So I kind of understand, but again, it's something where I don't know the ins and outs of how they're working these negotiations, but they need to get like some of the MLBPA guys in there with the owners and kind of just hash it out. Like these, I'm going to write a proposal and send it to you, and then you guys tell me what you think. It just takes a lot of time. It's wasting a lot of time because you're sending it to them. It takes several days to talk about it. It is what it is. It just takes too long. So just like the whole Jamal and Joe Douglas, get in the room. If you can't get in the room, get on the phone call together and just hash it out. Talk about it. That's why, like, I'm a younger guy, right? I just turned 30. But it's funny because some people will make fun of me. I hate texting. They're like, you're young, you grew up with texting. I was like, yeah, but I hate it. Because it's like, why should a 5-minute conversation take a half an hour because we're waiting to text back and forth? I just want to get on the phone, talk, and that's like the same thing with this contract thing. MLB owners send the contract, it takes a few days, they send it back, as opposed to just getting on a conference call or a Zoom call and just kind of voicing everybody's opinion and trying to work out the details that way. I think it just works so much faster. But who am I to say? Then quit, bunch of losers. So, yeah, the NBA, like I said, the biggest thing that's getting to me is they're making everything like political with everything. And I don't want to get into politics on here, and I don't want to get into my views on the politics in here. But what I do want to get into is the fact that everything's not about politics. If we put that stuff to the side and just look at what we got to do, I mean, they're saying they don't want to play now because it takes away from the movement. And now they're trying to tell everybody to go out and vote. And that they're trying to sway them towards a specific party, and it just doesn't make sense. If you talk politics, we could have a 2-hour conversation. Yeah, we could, and it would be very, very interesting. But I just don't like that athletes. I can understand if you want to use your platform if you think something's wrong, right? But to try to use your platform to influence people to vote a certain way, I think that's wrong, because you're not a political science major. You're not, in politics. You're an athlete, right? And that's not saying that you're not as intelligent or anything like that. But it's like, why should your opinion count more than mine? Because you're an exceptional athlete? No. Like, if I try to get my viewpoint out there, nobody would hear me except for the 6 people we got in here right now, right? So it's like, I understand if you want to say, hey, you guys should get out and vote, and this is why you should vote, but don't try to sway people to vote one way. And then the funny thing is, no, I'm not going to get into that, because then you're going to know what side I'm on, and I don't want to talk politics. But back to the Jets. So we're done with the offensive side of the ball when it comes to the AFC East position rankings. We've done them all: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. So we're going to get over to defense. We've only done corner so far. I haven't decided if I'm going to do front 7, because teams run 3-4s versus 4-3s, and it kind of impacts it, as opposed to doing D-line linebackers. But we'll see. And then we definitely have to do safeties as well. So 2 to 3 more videos on actually 4. I promise to do the special teams. So 3 to 4 videos left on the AFC East position groups, and then we will have to think of something else to talk about until we start to get some actual news coming in. They talk trash, but won't give up their money. Yeah. I just watched a 3-hour movie documentary on how the world really works. It's nothing what you see on the news. You better hope Trump gets back in office. Okay, enough of this. Back to football. All I'll say, Stephen, is I agree. But yeah, so this year is going to be interesting. Like I said, I hope that it goes off without a hitch. I hope that none of this stuff affects our football season. We need some normalcy back. I think I mentioned briefly on last Sunday's episode, I was driving to the grocery store and turned into the shopping complex, and right in the corner is a Hurricane Grill and Wings. It's like a little bar. And there's some tables outside, and there's some people sitting out there. It was a little bit like about dinner time. Some people sitting outside, a lady sitting outside playing a guitar, singing. Seemed like people were really having a good time, and it was refreshing to see that. So I'm just so happy that we're starting to get back to normal. I think that these protests could be a blessing in disguise, in the sense that if we do not have a big second wave, then they have no excuse to not go back to normal, right? These people are on top of each other all over the country. If they don't spread it and we don't have another big spike, I think that it's going to give people a lot of confidence to go back to doing what they were normally doing, which means we can get sports back. I bet you guys don't know George Soros was black. I didn't know that, Stephen. But so, all right. So now you're going to make me make a comment that I really want to make about politics, but you keep bringing it up in the comments. So one of the things that I find hilarious is how a lot of these athletes are saying that we don't understand their history and that we should be educated on their history. And the one thing I'd want to turn back onto them is, can you please be educated on your own history, right? Or the history of this country. So in today's day and age, every single news outlet but one has a strong favor towards one side of the party. Whereas back in the day, it used to be more of a 50-50 split. So if it's a 50-50 split, you're going to kind of hear both sides. When it's so heavily one side, you're only going to hear one side, and they can manipulate stories any way that they want. So if you look at it, right, they try to say that Trump supporters are KKK white supremacists. The KKK is a party of the Democrats. Trump is a Republican. And they're saying you have, what's his name, Joe Biden, saying if you have an issue deciding between me and Trump, you're not black. But the Democratic Party was the party of slaves. The Republican Party is the party that freed the slaves. So that's the only thing I got to say is, like, look at your own, look at the history of the country before you say that you're on one side or not. You're getting manipulated by the media, and that's what it is. The media is the root of all evil in this country, and they manipulate these stories to however they want to spread fear, to spread hate, and it's wrong. Please just the only thing I want to say to you guys is, please just have a mind of your own and do the research. Look it all up and make your own opinion. I don't care if I lose every subscriber because of what I just said, right? Do your research, educate yourself, and don't just listen to one person, right? Don't listen to what I just said to you, right? Look it up and figure it out for yourself, right? That's the thing, man. Don't let them manipulate you. That's the biggest thing. Don't let them manipulate. And that's why I wanted this channel too. And I said on my first video, if you want to go back to my first video, I said, look, my opinion is not on the Jets is not always going to be the most popular, right? But I'm not going with the company line. I'm not going with what everybody else is saying. That's why I'm one of the people on here, YouTube. You look at all the other YouTube guys. Ryan's kind of a little bit on my side, but look at Matt O'Leary. Look at Gangrene David, right? Look at some of these guys. They're all saying how much they hate Gates and how Gates needs to be fired, right? Because that's the media narrative. That's the media narrative. This guy has been given nothing. Even in Miami, he was given nothing. Tannehill hurt every year. The offensive line banged up a lot. We were devastated last year. Give the guy a chance. It doesn't matter who the coach was last year. So that's what I'm saying. Don't buy into everything, man. Do your research. Make your own educated decision. Make sure you got the facts, man. And that's my little rant for today. I know you guys kind of like when I go on little rants. It was a little bit of a different rant this time, but it ties into everything in life, man. It ties into everything in life: football, politics, baseball, basketball. Don't just follow the company line, man. Look at it your own way. Be objective as possible, and make your own decisions, man. Don't let nobody influence you, because the news media is slanted. Will never tell the truth. It's all lies. Yeah. And so now if I want to play the middle line, right, how could you look at one channel and look at the other channel, and the world is one in the world is doing great, the other one in the world is in shambles, right? How is it, again, their story, truth somewhere in here, right? That's what it is, man. And I know we're a little bit over here, and I got way off topic there, but I appreciate you guys coming on. Like I said, a lot of you guys are the same guys every single week. I appreciate it so much, man. There's so much you could be doing with your time. To be spending it here with me on the channel means the world to me, man. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel. I will get another video up on the defense this week. Like I said, I haven't decided if it's going to be the full front seven or if I'm going to break them up into two separate videos. But we'll see what I decide. When I'll start doing the research and kind of see if I think it's better as one episode or two. But I'll try to get some more guests on in the future. I did find out that I can't do live stream guests, at least at the time being, because I stream all this stuff from my work computer right now, and I can't download the right programs on it because it's a work computer to do that. So I'll have to get a new computer at some point in the future so that I can bring some live guests on here for you guys as well. But yes, tomorrow night I'll be on there. You guys will see me in the comments. Like I said, if you guys want to see me on Ryan's show, blow up his chat tomorrow night. Blow it up every Monday. I know that some of you guys have been in there saying that stuff, so it means a lot to me when you guys do that. And I'm gonna head out for now. Like I said, man, keep your head up, be safe out there, and as always, jet up. Well,